Hi, I'm Marilyn Tate, and this is my presentation for tort liability in schools. So, what is a tort? It is a civil action or just even a lack of action that causes someone to suffer injury, whether it's emotional or physical. The types of torts that usually affect schools are negligence and intentional, with really negligence being the very most common type of tort affecting schools. In case one, Johnson versus School District of Millard, the facts of the case, this was a music class. The music teacher taught the kids the song London Bridge and then the actions that go along with that to play the game. She had some kids help her demonstrate one time, and then she let kids play the game. The boy that was injured in this case was one of the first in the first group of students that got to play the game. So during the time that he was in the middle, the kids were swinging him back and forth. He later stated that he told them they were swinging. He said they were swinging hard and fast, and he told them to stop. Their hands came undone, and he flew into a bookcase, hitting his head, causing a deep cut in his forehead that actually went to the bone. It required 50 stitches. He suffered blurry vision for a while and headaches. The boy testified that at the time the teacher was not watching them, and she had her back to them as she was writing on the blackboard. Another student backed that up. The teacher said she was helping another student at the time. In this case, what you're going to do, something like this, you're going to call really medical personnel or 911, call the parents. You're going to get your class covered, have someone either watch them in there or remove them. And then you're going to either remove the student if possible and the teacher and talk to them. You're going to talk to all witnesses. You'll have some district incident report that you'll have to fill out. And then you need to discuss the incident with the teacher, and then there's probably the possibility of a verbal or written warning in this case. I would then, after that, go and reinforce safety measures and talk about the importance of safety measures and instruction in classrooms with everybody. Proactively, you should monitor teachers' lesson plans for any type of physical activities that you think might have a possibility of somebody getting hurt, and make sure that they're taking proper safety measures. You could even provide classroom assistance to help them just for these specific activities, and especially with those younger kids, but even really any age. I would provide training actually on liability law and cases for your staff, because sometimes seeing where mistakes happen and people suffer the consequences of these mistakes and not being careful might kind of put it into their minds to be a little more mindful of safety measures, and just making sure that your teachers are, any type of activity, giving complete safety instructions to students and then monitoring them. I would also create an accident-free award for classrooms and teachers. So you've got whole classes and then teachers themselves over time, and it could be monthly or quarterly, any way that would work out for you. Case 2, Mosley versus the Portland School District. In this case, a girl, Chrisetta Mosley, 15-year-old high school student, got in a fight in a hallway during lunchtime. Another girl pulled out a box cutter and stabbed her, causing permanent scarring and injury. There was no security present in that hallway, although there was security in the building. She sued for negligence. The trial court found for the district, then later an appeals court reversed, but then the Supreme Court upheld the trial court's decision. Now, when something like this happens, you're going to call 911. You're going to call parents. You're going to interview witnesses, complete your district incident report, probably contact school legal personnel. I would then probably conduct some school assemblies, student assemblies or meetings, kind of reinforcing your school code of conduct and laws that apply to students and this type of thing. And I would change lunch procedures so you do not have students in areas without adult supervision. To prevent this type of thing, start out each year with student assemblies and go over your rules, your consequences, things like that. Have designated areas at lunch for students to be, making sure that there are going to be adults present. And then incorporate some programs maybe school-wide to teach and encourage positive behavior, socially acceptable behavior. And seek out community partners that could maybe help you with that. They can do different things from mentoring to actually coming in and helping with manpower at lunchtime or things like that for monitoring. And then even financial assistance that you could use in some kind of a reward program. Case 3, Bocek versus Millard School District. In this case, 9th grader David Bocek was in PE class. It was the second day of class. He was absent the first day. They had mandatory golf because the weather was bad. It was in the gym. So he missed the instructions on the first day. There were no instructions given on the second day. Another student was trying to tell him what to do, and he was showing him, he was going to demonstrate for him. That student hit him in the head with a golf club. He died 2 days later. The class had one teacher and one student teacher present. The actual teacher said that the student teacher was supposed to be watching them. The student teacher was helping another student and said they didn't know they couldn't help someone one-on-one. When something like this happens, you're going to call 911 immediately. You're going to call parents. You're going to interview witnesses. You're going to do your district paperwork, talk to legal counsel. You're then going to meet with the teacher because the fact is the school had written rules for indoor golf and the teacher did not follow these rules. You're going to most likely give that teacher a written warning, I would say. And then meet with your staff to go over school procedures and instruct them to be following those procedures. To prevent this type of thing, I would personally end mandatory golf class and especially not have golf class in the gym. I would provide preventative safety training and measures for staff and students. I would, again, give some training on liability law and cases for your staff to know what kinds of things can happen and think about those things. And then again, the safety-free award might be a thing you would do. Or accident-free award might be a thing you could do. Case 4, Mitchell versus Cedar Rapids Community School District. In this case, a 14-year-old 9th grader with a very low IQ, she was a SPED student, had been seen becoming physical with another SPED student that was 19 by the SPED teacher. This had been witnessed. She one day skipped last period with a friend, met up with the 19-year-old. They went to a house where that boy raped her while another student watched. That was in the fall of 2007. It wasn't reported until May of 2008. The mother sued in November of 2009, and the jury found for the plaintiff. Reactively, I would interview the teacher who saw these students becoming physical and, talk to her about why she didn't talk to somebody about that, or the students themselves and the parents. I would provide immediate measures to track our SPED students' attendance throughout the day. If they're there one period and they're not the next, maybe call the parents, call the office, find out what happened, make sure they really checked out for a legitimate reason. And then conduct some student assemblies or meetings to talk about personal safety. To prevent this type of thing, I feel like if you could place SPED classrooms, self-contained SPED classrooms in areas where you're going to have more adult supervision and people looking out for them, have cameras by exits, conduct back-to-school meetings with parents and students and just, really go over, and especially these SPED kids, the importance of safety and provide some supports for, safety measures for these kids. Now, Case 5, John R. versus Oakland Unified School District. John R. was a 14-year-old freshman. He was taking part in a district-approved extracurricular activity that allowed him to go to a teacher's home after school. He was sexually molested by his math teacher at the math teacher's apartment. This program also was aimed at high-achieving students, in which John had been very low achieving in math up to that class, where all of a sudden he had done, so much better and was doing well, and that seemed like kind of a red flag, actually. The teacher threatened him not to tell anyone. And so John didn't report it to his parents till 10 months later, and then the parents sued. It was eventually found, against the district. Reactively, I'm going to end any extracurricular activities immediately that involve students going to teachers' homes. I'm going to reinforce legal implications with staff, and then conduct meetings with kids to, again, address personal safety issues and what you can do. To prevent such a thing, I'm going to never have extracurricular activities that involve students going into teachers' homes alone. I'm going to then conduct liability training with teachers, and then provide some kind of safe lines of communications for students who feel threatened or afraid to report abuse, where they can do it and not feel like they're going to get found out. So that is my presentation. I would say, how can we as administrators and make sure our staff and our faculty are taking proactive measures to prevent these types of things. Maintain regular training, research current cases and historical cases, and know what has happened and could happen to try to anticipate what you could do and then prevent these things from happening. Provide a setting for communication between staff members where you guys talk about what are some possibilities, what's something that's going on that could lead to something else. Teach students about safety and self-preservation. And then make social and behavior education part of your school's curriculum as well. And always review and assess your current practices and look for weak spots. So that is my presentation. Thank you.